welcome back. This is Rick Bosley, General Manager, Team Leader for the KW Brevard offices, Cocoa Beach and Melbourne. I'm sitting here with the OP, Steve Tufts. Welcome to the Buffalo Room, Steve.
Well, it's good to be here. This is a nice studio. Congratulations on getting this put together.
Thank you. I feel like I got to fix the boom mic. I'm still want to look at you and look at everything else out there.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if we look good, but I think we know. I know we sound good.
Well, good equipment. So we'll just leave it at that.
Good stuff. Well, listen, what we're doing here today is letting you get a little bit of insight. There's a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise. So when Steve comes to the office, we want to make sure we can tap into it and at least share the story. So Steve, I don't really have a huge agenda right now, but a big topic that we've been talking about in real estate has been AI, right? And it's a shiny new object. When did you start real estate? Well, like your first time you went out there and did your first listing presentation, when was that?
Okay, well, before I do that, I just want to congratulate you on your results this last couple of months. The energy in these offices is amazing. The performance has really, the trajectory of the performance has really accelerated. And so I'm giving you a nod on that. You can share the credit with your team, but nice job, and make sure your team knows how much we appreciate what you guys are doing. And it's good to see the Brevard County operations kind of back on a positive trajectory.
Thank you for that. Stocks on the rise. You provided me an amazing team here, right? And then with Cocoa Beach, really finding the two ladies there to drive that performance. The buzz is, I think, what's most exciting. It's the buzz in the office, the buzz in the team meetings, even from people who've been here a long time. Tom Toronto posted something on our internal Facebook page. It just says, the staff is on the rise. Like he sees the difference. So thank you for noticing that. And the results are following. So
yeah, no question. It really looks good. So back to your question, I got my real estate license in 2001 and joined Keller Williams in 2003 in Atlanta. And what's going on right now with AI reminds me of when I first got in the real estate business and the internet was just starting to be popularized. So it's amazing to think that it's been only 20 something years since the internet was really introduced into the real estate arena. And I see very similar behaviors out of the marketplace, out of realtors and so on, as I saw back in, say, 03, 04, 05, when we were first starting to really see the internet penetrate the real estate practice.
Yep. Well, and there is a similarity, and there's early adopters, and then there's resistors who eventually adopt.
That's correct.
Right. And so embrace it. It's going to be here because it's going to move even faster just because of where technology is at. I've always thought of a neat class. I've taught it a couple of times. It's selling real estate like it's 1990, which means there is no cell phones. There is no laptops. There is no
internet.
There is no internet. There is no web. There is no social media. And to my core, I still believe that agents need to master 1990 real estate before they start enhancing it with the tools. What are your thoughts on that?
Couldn't agree more. So until real estate stops being a transaction that is based upon trust and a relationship between agents, two agents on the buy side and the sell side, relationship of agents with their buyer and seller, until it stops being relationship oriented and until it stops being trust oriented, then regardless of what tools you use, you still need to have the 1990s practices.
That's it.
And so when the internet popped in late 90s and early 2000s, everybody was all consumed with the internet. And it was amazing. People would spend, hours trying to make their website look right. And they would forget to go out and try to find a customer.
Yeah.
And what I used to tell people is, at some point, if your tools don't work, you can't build.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining a carpenter trying to build a house.
Yep.
And let's say he buys a new automated pneumatic nail gun to put nails into 2x4s with, and the nail gun keeps jamming. At some point the carpenter needs to pick up a hammer and drive the nails. It's not about the nail gun, it's about building the house.
Yep.
And it's the same way I felt about the internet in the early 2000s. It's the same way I feel about AI right now. It's a tool to help us connect with our customers better, connect with our markets better, and to help people buy homes more intelligently, if for lack of a better term. And so I don't like that people get hooked in the tool.
Yeah.
What I want them to figure out is, does that tool really accelerate the process of getting a home sold?
I used the very similar analogy yesterday. I did a mastermind in the Waterford Lakes office, and someone said, "How can I use it? How can I use it?" And she admittedly said she's responding with text and asking AI to drive it. I was like, that's overkill. So I gave the example of a drill. You used a nail gun. I said a drill versus screwdriver. They do the same thing, right? Just one does it much faster. I said, but if I'm just going to screw in that light switch cover, am I going to go grab my drill? Or am I going to grab a flathead screwdriver?
Correct.
And I'm going to grab the flathead screwdriver because this needs 3.5 turns and I'm done. Because if I got the drill, I'd probably overpower it anyway and crack the whole thing. So it's understanding when and how to use it. But what's the goal? The goal is not AI. The goal is not a screwdriver. The goal is to put the light switch on the wall.
And I also think, Rick, and I'm still a little bit of a rookie myself. I use a little bit of ChatGPT and so on. I'm a bit of a rookie myself, but it's funny that during my professorship years at the University of Florida, it was easy for me to spot a student that had used AI to submit a paper or to take a test or whatever. And it's easy to spot AI now. So what's hysterical to me is to go on YouTube and watch a YouTube video. And occasionally the AI commentator or narrator will mispronounce a word. Like the other day, they were talking about a Cadillac, an automobile, and they called it a Cadillac. And so I knew it was an AI produced film, and I immediately stopped it. I don't want to listen to an AI produce something.
You lost the trust. You lost the authenticity of it.
Right. You basically told me there's no relationship here and there's no authenticity here. And if they tell me, here's the 10 best places to go travel in the United States, and they mispronounce the words, then I'm really thinking, okay, this really isn't coming from someone that's actually visited those places. It's an AI generated piece. So the same thing with our real estate practice. If a customer figures out, either because you mispronounce something, misspell something, misstate something, if they figure out that this is AI, not only will you not have trust, you'll actually have mistrust.
I actually have thought about that, and I've leaned in. And I've leaned in a couple of ways. I'm okay using AI and actually showing the seller, look, we use AI, here's how, check it out. And knowing that I'm still the one authoring, I'm still the one endorsing, I'm still the one signing off on it. But this is some cutting edge stuff, because although it might not have been an authentic traveler or a consumer with cars, they are smarter than you and I are because they can read instantaneously. So the information's accurate, but the experience is not personalized. And I think we're going, how do we keep that personal touch? So I'm teaching, lean into it and go to, we've talked about this before, coming into Keller Williams, where I'm going to ask you 6 or 7 questions. I'm going to push enter. We're going to take a walk and show you the office. And when we come back, we'll have a customized business plan done.
See, I think the way I like to think about artificial intelligence right now for myself, and I'm not saying this is the way everybody should think about it. To me, it's research. Okay. And no one's going to fault you for doing thorough research.
There you go.
Okay, but they are going to fault you if you have the machine write your letter and you don't proofread it, or have the machine put together your narration and you don't proofread it. That's different than doing research, because AI, there's no question, the way it works, it does increase the speed and complexity and thoroughness of your research, and your preparation. And that's, to me, the value in AI right now.
And a good block that, that's your foot, would be is 20% of you is preparing for it, 60% of AI is creating it, and 20% is you finalizing. Correct. So keeping that 20, 60, 20. I want to shift gears here just a few more minutes, because your real estate legacy is not about selling houses, and it's certainly not AI and technology. Your real estate legacy is about leadership. It's about growing businesses and growing people. So what is some wisdom right now in today's industry, as people are looking to build businesses, whether big businesses of multiple people and agents or small businesses staying solo with an existent? What are some leadership lessons you've learned along the way that you want to share?
Well, let's separate it into 2 things. Leadership, I'll say the leadership lesson, this is an easy one, because I feel like I've been blessed in my 45-year career in being surrounded by really great people. And part of that is me choosing those people. Yep. Part of it is me just deciding what kind of people I want to be affiliated with. So usually when someone enters my world, they're amazed at the quality of the people I have around me. from my daughters to, guys that I've been in business with for 20 or 30 years who are hyper intelligent. In fact, my very first entrepreneurial business partner when we went out on our own, that's been almost 30 years ago, he and I were on the phone yesterday, and he had an agenda of items we needed to speak about. Now we're, of course, 30 years older now, so we speak about different things, but it's amazing that I'm still very close with some of my original business, actually almost all of my original business partners and people that have worked for me over the years, even back in my corporate days. I'm still very good friends with them.
So how does that happen? It's not coincidence and it's not luck. So how does that happen?
So a lot of leaders believe that you should not fraternize with your team. And I believe that that's true initially. Okay. But I also think that if you have selected the best people, then why wouldn't you want to spend personal time with them? Why wouldn't you want to know their families, their children, their grandchildren, their wives? Why wouldn't you want to meet their parents? Why wouldn't you want to know everything you know about them, have dinner with them, go fishing with them, play golf with them? So I have always, after a certain period of time, I've always had a good personal relationship with my leadership team in addition to the business relationship. So the way I see it is, once I see that they're going to produce results for me and produce as they have promised they would do and hold themselves accountable and act properly and so on, then I feel like it's okay to take the next step and develop a personal relationship.
Right.
So results first. So it's sort of business relationship, results, then personal relationship. And you've met a lot of my partners, Rick, over the years. Yep. I mean, some of my partners are amazing people.
No doubt. So when you say a lot of leaders don't want to do that is because they are afraid then you have an emotional attachment, and if the results suffer, then you're going to feel bad about having to make a change. Is that why there's that like arm's length relationship, you think?
I think that's it. I also think there might be some insecurities at times in leaders that surround themselves with high performers, that they can't have a relationship with a high performer for fear that they won't be able to maintain the hierarchy. Well, once you get a high performer up and running, you don't need a hierarchy. What you need to do is then step behind them as a servant leader and support them. And so you kind of lead from behind instead of lead from ahead.
I was listening to an OP and team leader years ago, but this resonated with me. And the question was, how do you hold your team leader accountable? And the OP's answer was, you hire an accountable person, you won't have to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So make a good hire and then make sure that you're holding them to those results. Once you do that, they're going to be self-driven, self-motivated. People don't outgrow you. Why is it that people don't feel like, hey, Steve, it's been a good run, I'm going to do my own thing now because I've outgrown you? You seem to retain your leadership group and leadership team. What about your organization or style is different than others that seem to have a higher turnover?
I share the profits.
Okay.
And I provide equity opportunities for people. I don't know what the number is right now. I should know it. The last time I counted, the number of partners that I have in all of my businesses is about 45. And with maybe the exception of 2 or 3, like, Chris Armstrong, for example, he was already well off before he and I met. But I would say with the exception of 2 or 3, almost all of those people, their wealth was created through our partnership.
Right.
Okay. So it wasn't like they had money and then they became my partner. It was the other way around. They became my partner. I gave them an equity opportunity or some sort of a profit sharing opportunity, and then they grew into it. So I do have somewhere around 40 equity partners, real equity partners in my businesses, maybe 45.
Share the wealth, share the opportunity. Otherwise, they're going to leave you and go create their own.
By the way, that also helps with accountability, because if they have ownership, real equity ownership, they'll work right along beside you to accomplish your objectives for the most part.
Skin in the game, and it turns into a true partner conversation and not a employee-employer conversation.
Absolutely.
Which is more honest, more collaborative. Do you think that would work on the agent level as well? Because very few teams actually bring in equity partners. They have agents and they might promote them or give them a better split or give them some extra perks. Very few teams are actually sharing equity. Do you have an opinion on that?
I do. I think anytime you could create an entity that could have the possibility for equity participation, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I don't want to get into the details of it, but I've watched the Rocco team. After Sarah Rocco passed away, I watched what happened, the way they restructured that team. And stayed in very close contact with the people who inherited the team or now run the team, and now they have real ownership in the team. And that team has continued to prosper because of the way they structured it after Sarah passed away,
right,
giving real ownership to some of the team members. It's been amazing.
In a lot of other ways, it would have been dissolved, right? When the leader and the rainmaker isn't here anymore, then everyone high fives, parts ways. But that had that structure there. Correct. I think it's great. Okay, so now Steve, you've got Russell with St. Augustine, Daytona. You've got Mike up there in Jacksonville. You've got me here in Brevard, which leaves you, and you're not a professor anymore at Gainesville. So what are you working on right now? What are you doing?
I'm working on my hobbies right now, and I'm working on helping my grandson learn how to play baseball. And I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next. But it will be no surprise to anyone that I find my sweet spot is teaching, coaching, mentoring, and I think that's where I'll go. I've had a couple of projects underway for quite some time with some very, very high potential partners, and we're working on one that I know that you know what it is, but I don't really want to say what it is I don't want to break the confidence that he may want me to share. But one of the things that I see is that we lack high-level strategic training in Keller Williams. So we tend to do some task-oriented training, like how to generate leads, how to do scripts, how to do a transaction, how to fill out a contract. We don't strategize with people on how to build a business. Our motto is where entrepreneurs thrive, but there's not a single entrepreneurship class by title that I've seen in Keller Williams. And so, as you know, I piloted one here recently with a selected group of people just to see what it would look like. And I got great reviews on it. And I think I'm going to continue to expand that. So I'm going to teach real estate salespeople how to actually think like an entrepreneur and be an entrepreneur, and to look more globally at their business opportunities. So that's one thing I'm working on. I'm working on some projects to continue training in the financial area around Keller Williams. As you know, I've taught agent financials and market center financials for years. And so I'm still on the master faculty, so I'll still be able to do that. But my plan is for guys like you to call me and say, hey, Steve, come on down. We got this thing going on and we'd like your input on it, or your counsel, or maybe you could be give us a little talk and so on. And that's what I'd like to do. The other thing that I have a soft spot for in my my life is the subject of influence. And, I did my doctoral dissertation on the subject of sphere of influence, and it was really an amazing outcome, which in the Atlantic Partners Group, we actually changed the way we approached recruiting based on the research that we discovered during my doctoral dissertation. So we've been doing some different recruiting, and we've been doing some different things in terms of our training. And I actually have what's right now a 1-hour seminar, and I'm working part of the material into this entrepreneurship arena to help people become more influential inside their sphere of influence. Because the more influence you have, the more likely you are to receive referrals.
Right.
And as we all know, the biggest, best businesses are built on referrals. All of the top producers have big referral bases. And so if I can help agents learn actually how to have influence, it will help them build their referral network and help them grow their businesses.
Well, I think that's a perfect teaser where you can wrap up there. You are right, though, because oftentimes the industry, Keller Williams included, throws around words like lead generation pretty loosely, throws around terms like SOI pretty loosely. Sphere of influence, do you really have influence, or is it just a database that's pretty broad? And so you're going, how do you actually tap in and create influence there? So this was a fun little chat, and if you guys enjoy listening to this, then make sure you like or subscribe, whatever meeting you're listening to. This is Steve Tufts. He's the operating principal of 6 offices up and down the Atlantic coast, from the Sebastian Inlet up to the Georgia-Florida border. It was his vision 20 years ago, and he's living it right now. If you'd like to have any more questions about how to grow and raise your lid as a leader and build a business where entrepreneurs can truly thrive, make sure you reach out to us. If you're already part of the organization, plug in, come to the trainings, and we'd love to be a resource for you to continue to build your wealth. Steve, thanks so much.
Rick, good to be here.
Great
Thank
chat.
you, sir.
You bet.